I'm back, everybody, and ever since the offseason has started, I've gotten one video suggestion over and over, and here is that video. This is what every MLB team needs to do this offseason, and let's get started. Now, I'm going to keep it honest with you guys. I don't really know what to do with this team because they're already perfect. No, seriously, think about it. What are the Orioles trying to do? Tank. And this is the best team they could put forward for tanking. So Orioles, you get a big thumbs up. Hey Blue Jays, can y'all just stop being stubborn and call up Vlad Jr. already? Nobody cares about your extra year control, and I think it's time that the Jays also move on from Marcus Stroman. There aren't enough pieces on the Blue Jays to contend right now, especially considering that Stroman was their ace last year, and he had an ERA north of 5. The Padres have shown interest in Stroman and will probably give up too much to get him. The Rays are looking really good going into next season. I don't think they'll be winning the division next year, but it will be close. While I was at the winter meetings in Vegas, Cash said that the opener would be returning. We don't know the extent of the opener, but it would help for the Rays to bolster the back end of the rotation by adding another starter. I've talked about why signing players to super long big money deals is a bad thing, but I know someone will eventually sign Bryce Harper and Manny Machado to a massive deal. So for the sake of this video, we are going to roll with it. Now, the Yankees seem to be really close on getting Machado, and it looks like he's either going to the Yankees or the Phillies. Right now, I'd say he goes to the Yankees. So if he goes there, this is what the Yankees should do. I'm going to make a video on this topic by itself, which will release very soon, so I don't want to give away too much, but they should trade Andujar to the Indians, trade for Brandon Belt, and sign Mike Moustakas. I'll explain more in detail why those are the best moves for the Yankees in a future video. Well, Boston, congrats on your World Series victory, but yikes, it looks like you lost your closer and Joe Kelly's gone Hollywood. This bullpen needs some flex seal ASAP. They still have some solid pieces in the pen, but they really need to add 1 or 2 more pieces via trade or the free agent market. Catcher depth could be better, but the Red Sox offense is enough right now, even without much offensive production from that position. The Royals are currently tanking, so there isn't really much to do. But one thing they have been doing is signing all the guys that have light speed as one of their tools, Terrence Gore and Billy Hamilton. So keep signing fast guys and try to piss off other teams when you play them, I guess. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Now, White Sox, you've had a bit too much, it's time to go home. The White Sox have been in the running for Manny Machado and Bryce Harper, and has anyone sit back and asked, why? The White Sox know that they are not going to compete next year, but they see signing Harper or Machado as a future investment. But the only future investment you're getting is paying a 40-year-old north of $30 million a year. Did nobody learn from the Angels? The White Sox are too young of a team to commit that kind of money right now. I get the fans want a big superstar on their team, but the White Sox have too many unanswered questions. Will Moncada ever perform to the level he was supposed to? Will Abreu bounce back? What about pitching? I could go on, but Chicago, it's not the time to commit to that kind of money. Not yet. The Tigers are basically in the same boat as the Royals. They're tanking, but if they're trying to contend, sign or trade a few new players at every position besides first base or right field. The Twins could be the bounce back story next season. Looking at their roster, they have a really solid team. Corona and Cruz were really good pickups. The lineup is pretty good, but they could use a lot of pitching help. Clay Buchholz and Gio Gonzalez would really help the Twins, plus they don't have a high price tag. Chief Wahoo has left the chat, and could Corey Kluber leave as well? Probably. After the Indians extended Cookie, they are looking to either trade Bauer or Kluber, and Kluber has been drawing a lot more interest. Basically, the Indians are just trying to maximize the value of Kluber now to bolster their roster for the future. But wait, aren't the Indians competing? They have a really solid team and they should sign more pitchers and See, this is what we call the AL Central cycle. For real though, the Indians should keep Kluber and go for it. Lindor and Ramirez will only be on the team for so long. Everything. The Angels really need some pest control because it seems everyone on their roster got hit with the injury bug last season. Their DL was more full than a Buffalo Wild Wings on a college football Saturday. And while the Angels are at it, sign some starting pitching, especially in the back end of the rotation. Buchholz would be a great fit, or maybe Ohtani could teach Trout to pitch so he could carry this team some more. Go sign Japanese lefty Kikuchi. I know you're tanking, kind of, or whatever you call a tank, but Kikuchi looks like a can't miss, just like Ohtani was. Don't mess this up. The A's came flying out of nowhere last season, won 97 games, and were rewarded by being eliminated in a one-game playoff at Yankee Stadium. But the A's offseason has gone pretty well so far. The only real issue with this team is catcher, which hopefully they could get Lucroy back. The Astros have some of the best depth of the league, but they could use another starter. We don't know how Josh James will perform for a full season, and McCullers just had Tommy John. There are a lot of options on the free agent market for cheap unless they feel like going big and re-signing Keuchel. Marlins only have to do two things this offseason: get some new uniforms and continue the tank. The Mets have made some good moves so far, but they still aren't even close to the Braves. The corner infield could use some serious work. Frazier hasn't been the same ever since he left Cincinnati, and they need a center fielder. Lagares is more of a fourth outfielder, and who knows how Cespedes will be next season. Since Bryce Harper is no longer on the Nationals, it seems that everyone just kind of forgot about them. But their rotation is up there with some of the best in baseball, and they have a young outfield core in Robles and Soto. The Nationals need to find a second baseman that is better than Howie Kendrick, and a lefty to add to the rotation. With those additions to the roster, the Nationals don't only have a chance of making the playoffs, but also making it past the divisional round. The Phillies are one of the other big teams with lots of money to burn, and they really want to sign a big name. Machado would be a better fit than Harper considering the current shortstop situation for the Phillies. Even with a bid signing, the Phillies can still afford and need a number 3 starter. Corbin is already gone, so it looks like Keuchel for 5 years is going to be the Phillies' best bet. This Braves team has some young stars, and they have a lot of money to spend, so look out everyone. With the additions of the Bringer of Rain and Brian McCann, all they really need is a proven ace. Again, Keuchel looks like the best option for a lot of teams with money, unless they are willing to trade some of their top pitching prospects for Kluber. Year by year, the Reds are getting closer to contention, and with that they need to go for some more starting pitching. Wood and Roark are pretty good, but they have money to go after a big-name starter that they need. And when top prospects arrive, we could see the Reds in a playoff spot as soon as next year. I think the Pirates are the cheapest franchise in MLB. I don't mean they don't have money, they just don't want to spend it. Last offseason, the Pirates didn't sign one MLB contract, and this year they have signed a grand total of 1 major league contract. Pirates, find a direction, either tank or go for it. Don't be stuck in the endless void of mediocrity, and then get back to me when you make a decision. Really quick, I just want to thank the Cardinals for bringing back these amazing blue uniforms. I mean, look at these. But the Cardinals seem to be going for it this year in a stat NL Central. They picked up Goldschmidt and Miller, but they could use another arm. It wouldn't be that hard for them to trade one of their many infielders to pick up another piece. Sign Bryce Harper. The Cubs need Harper. The Cubs should sign Bryce Harper. Alright, we get it, Cubs fans. You dream every night of the idea that Bryce Harper and Chris Bryant can both be on the Cubs and everyone would be happy. Well, it's not that easy, and frankly, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Bryce Harper is a good player, and he would be a good signing if he wasn't asking for so much. And right now, the Cubs are at a point where some guys are getting into their arbitration and eventual free agent years. And what about Jason Hayward? Are the Cubs just going to dump his contract into the ocean? There's not a lot the Cubs can do with their current roster. They may be able to add some pitching, but the field is basically filled. If the Cubs want to make a splash, trade is the best way, not free agency. The Brewers showed a lot of promise last year, and this team still hasn't reached its full potential. Players are still developing, but it would be really nice to land a frontline starter. Push hard for Keuchel, and if that doesn't work, Re-signing Miley or going after Holland would help as well. Alright Padres, you're getting close. The Padres have built up one of the best farm systems in baseball, and they are close to being relevant again. So add some pieces around the prospects, preferably veterans, and get ready for 2020. Well, after the Diamondbacks decide to trade Goldie, they've basically guaranteed Marlins levels attendance numbers for next season. It looks like they're embracing the tank, so ship out anything you could get some prospects for, and most importantly, get rid of that awful Greinke contract. The Rockies had a great season last year, and there are a lot of ways to build on it. If Ottavino goes, be sure to add another arm. He played a big role last season. They also need to figure out what they're going to do with Arenado, whether they trade him or extend him. Another year, another World Series loss in Los Angeles. It's okay, Dodgers fans, I'm just having a little fun. After the Puig and Kemp trade, there have been some reports that Bryce Harper is going to the Dodgers. But don't get too excited because those reports are just Reddit rumors. The move did clear some cap space, but the Dodgers have been consistent in not wanting to offer Harper a long-term deal. But the Dodgers should really focus on catcher and a setup man for Jansen. The bullpen could always use some work. The Giants are at a crucial point in their franchise. Last year basically went all downhill after the first 2 games, but the Giants aren't looking to do a full rebuild. Instead, they are doing a half rebuild because ownership and the fans wouldn't be too happy if Posey was shipped out. But Bumgarner has been in trade talks, and the Giants should keep him at least until the deadline. Teams will get a lot more desperate for a lights-out postseason pitcher, especially if Bumgarner poses a good first half. But until then, embrace the tank, or I guess the half tank. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. My merchandise is now available if you want to check it out. The link will be in the description. And I have a lot of things I'm working on for 2019, including a few new series, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. Thanks again, everybody, and I will see you all in the next video.
Yeah, I love her off. Says she love me, but she cut me off. Yeah, late nights on the boulevard, hitting stains on an empty heart, yeah. I love her off. Says she love me, but she cut me off. Yeah, late nights on the boulevard, hitting stains on an empty heart, yeah.